Here's the thing about Charleston White. Love him or hate him, the man has built his entire brand on walking into situations most people would run from.
Voila! Definition of would do anything for some attention. 50-some years old, still going to jail. This smiling on his mugshot, y'all. If this man is not a clout-seeking junkie, look at him. Damn fool. I know his mama disappointed in him. He go to jail and he's smiling because he's thinking about a Say Cheese interview. Say Cheese finna give me 10,000. I'm finna go spend 8,000 on. I'm finna go. I'm gonna fly, that's another 10,000. But I'm gonna tell him 15. But I'm gonna tell him 25. I gotta compete with Lil Boosie. Yeah, I'm finna go in there and talk about all type of shit. Oh, that nigga got me locked up. Yeah. Oh, should be ashamed of yourself. Steady going to jail, and I ain't went to jail.
He talks loud, he records everything, and he dares the world to respond.
I can go in details about a lot of things. He gave a whole power word. Me, him, and OG Sane ain't said nothing to each other about this. We've been riding in silence for years around the country. She said something that made him go off. She said, it sounds like you jealous of Charles. I never wanted my feel like that. Never. I ain't over you, you ain't over me. I got your back, you got mine. I'm secretly feeling some kind of way. And a few of my other was too. Wow, I might throw 3, 4, 5,000 in a strip club. Why they there? It's no different than them sitting there watching their parlay tickets. Got 4, 5 parlay tickets. I should feel some kind of way about you throwing your money on gambling. Come on now.
But this time, the world responded in a way even he didn't see coming.
Then you got to factor in what I got to factor in. When my homeboys go home, they women is speaking against me to separate them from me. Why? I cheat on my wife openly. And when they see me and my wife together, we look happy. And then they watching the females I'm cheating with. And then they bring them down by speaking on it. You with him, woo. All my niggas got to go through that, huh? So now they got to contend with her and certain, I don't know, because we're not talking to each other. I'm just still getting us through the door, homie. I'm just still carrying the ball. But I notice when you come, there's a shift in energy.
It started the way a lot of these situations do. A mutual connection, an event, a room full of the wrong people at the wrong time. Charleston showed up to what he thought was neutral ground, a gathering tied to a political figure, community talk, the kind of setting where you'd expect handshakes, not showdowns. But this was Houston, and in Houston, J. Prince's name carries a weight that doesn't care about the occasion. J. Prince didn't get to where he is by letting things slide.
I know that this woman who just walked by me and stepped on my shoe and kind of nudged me was J. Prince's daughter. All I know is, man, they got rude staff and I've been tipping it, not knowing that's his daughter. So after the guy said, I don't with him, he started leaning over talking to Dr. Candace Matthew Huband, who was just sitting down right within maybe 5 feet from him. So I'm watching his body language. I'm seeing his body language. They're having a long conversation, about a good 8 to 10 minutes. He walk off and go into the corner. So I keep my eye on him the whole time. Dr. Candace Matthew Huband get up from the table, smiling, laughing. I said, yeah, man, I see that body language. He said, yeah, man, he mad. Yeah, man, you a fool, man. He said, you sent him a picture of you. I said, that's where I know that from. That's right, yeah, that jumped in my inbox one time.
And you actually did that?
Yeah, listen, if you get in my DM.
The man built Rap-A-Lot Records from the ground up, mentored some of the biggest names in hip-hop, and earned a reputation for demanding respect in every room he's ever walked into. So, when Charleston White started running his mouth online about things connected to J. Prince's world, People in that camp noticed, and they don't forget.
This is what I want to tell you, James Prince. When I talked to the FBI yesterday, the FBI want to know, why would Houston Police Department, the FBI is curious to know, James, why would the Houston Police Department give you a police report to an open murder investigation with people names and statements on there? Who in the police department you got paying? Who you paying in HPD? Because everybody know you got the police on the payroll. The FBI just can't infiltrate the Houston Police Department to get them. Everybody know James Prince got the Houston Police Department on their payroll. That's why when Trey and Zero was when them jumping on Trey, that's why they did it in front of the Houston Police Department, and the Houston Police Department never stopped it. Y'all noticed that in that video, right? Why would the Houston Police Department give James Prince and his son, who was at a open murder investigation, why would they give him the police report where they got witness addresses and witness statements and witness names? Who in the police department is that crooked? Were they in bed with Rap-A-Lot mob ties? This is an open murder investigation. The FBI want to get Houston Police Department and Rap-A-Lot mob. They trying to connect the dots with them too. And you can best believe there are people making phone calls right now today. You can best believe there are people making phone calls right now today to the FBI wanting to know, how does James Prince get a motherfucking police report with witnesses' names and addresses and statements on it in an open murder investigation? Who dirty? What dirty cops working with Rap-A-Lot? Does James Prince get a police report with witnesses' names and addresses and statements on it in an open murder investigation? Who dirty? What dirty cops working with Rap-A-Lot? Those are the questions we need to be asking. Not that we trying to shut down a Houston, Texas. Everybody knows Jay Prince is dirty and there's dead bodies around him and his sons.
Now add the license situation on top of all that. Because somehow, in the middle of all this beef and back and forth, Charleston White got caught out in traffic without a valid driver's license. And depending on who you ask, that detail tells you everything you need to know about where this man's head is at right now. This whole situation is messier than it looks on the surface. Let's break it down from the beginning. So, let's go back to where this tension actually started, because it didn't come out of nowhere. Charleston White had been on his usual run of online commentary, the kind he does almost daily, posting videos, calling people out, sharing his opinions on everything from street culture to hip-hop politics. Most of the time, people clap back with words. But when your commentary starts touching on Jay Prince's circle, the rules of engagement change fast. Charleston made some statements online that rubbed people in Rap-A-Lot's camp the wrong way. He wasn't shy about it either. He said what he said, doubled down when questioned, and kept the cameras rolling like he always does. That's his...
I challenge Jay Prince short to a boxing match. In the middle. Stop that jab on his ass. Stop that jab. Stop that jab. Get in the ring, James. That's why you named all the power y'all got in Houston. Y'all could have helped that woman in the organization, but you want to derail her event. You, James Prince, your punk sons too. And your weird daughter that's abusing kids. Fuck James Prince family. Go help somebody. All I know, y'all left me vulnerable. Somebody should have been whispering in my ear. This is this man's daughter establishment. Get out of here. We seeing what he doing. So I ain't caring about nothing. Y'all watch this do this to me. And only for me to come back and lie and say I wasn't invited. I'm not about lying. I didn't know it was. She finna piss me off because she's scared now.
Yeah. Hey, now look, listen.
Formula. Say something bold, let the reaction come, then respond to the reaction. It keeps him relevant and it keeps his audience engaged. But there's a difference between poking a regular rap beef and poking someone with Jay Prince's reach. Jay Prince has connections that go well beyond music. He's got deep roots in Houston, deep relationships across the industry, and a long history of stepping in when he feels like something needs to be addressed directly. He's not the type to post a video response and move on. When Jay Prince has something to say, he tends to say it in person. So, When Charleston found himself at that event in Houston, the tension that had been building online was suddenly very much offline. The digital beef had followed him through the door, and Charleston, being Charleston, didn't exactly try to de-escalate. He kept recording, kept talking, kept doing exactly what he always does, which, depending on your perspective, is either incredibly brave or spectacularly reckless. What happened inside that room is the kind of story that spreads through hip-hop circles in hours, and it did exactly that. According to Charleston's own account, and he did share his account very publicly, he walked into that event through a mutual connection. A woman he trusted had essentially vouched for the space, told him it was safe, told him he was welcome. And Charleston, who talks constantly about not being afraid of anybody, took her at her word and walked right in. That's when the energy in the room shifted. He described it as feeling one particular presence before he even knew who it was. A heaviness. The kind of thing you notice when someone with serious authority enters a space. And then he pieced it together. Jay Prince was there, not just nearby, not just connected to the event, actually in the building, standing in the same room as the man he'd been going back and forth with online. Now most people in that situation would quietly find the nearest exit. Charleston White is not most people. He stayed. He kept recording. He kept talking to people. And then it escalated exactly the way you'd expect it to. One of Jay Prince's guys, a big dude by Charleston's description, came over and leaned down close. The message was simple and direct. Apologize. Go on camera, say you were trolling, take back what you said, and this all goes away clean.
So let's get the FBI in on this, James. Since you so bad, where you can shut down youth events, you ain't that bad. Shut your up. Quit crying. And I ain't never sitting down with no like you. Hit me in the mouth. I keep telling you, if don't none of you like what I'm saying, you kill me or hit me in the mouth or shut you up. Cause I ain't gonna quit talking. Can't no put no muzzle on my mouth. Suck my jang. You and your group of gangsters.
Charleston White went to Jay Prince Jr.'s daughter's restaurant. So I'm not that shocked to see people who rock with him there. Now, I think he believes that Jay Prince sent those guys. I'm thinking that those guys could have been there already and they stepped outside and called and be like, yo, Charleston White's here. And I thought Charleston's story matched that at first, where he was like, he saw somebody on the phone after looking at him. So did y'all see Charleston White, who responded to Jay Prince? Okay. So Charleston White has now responded to Jay Prince, who wrote a very cryptic message towards him. And the cryptic message basically said, hey, listen, for the people who are campaigning, you will be elected. This is like a saying that he uses a lot, but it's usually saying, if you're trying to get fucked up, eventually you will get fucked up. Or that's how I've taken it.
I go to Fifth Ward, Texas. Come to me and say, hey, woo, woo, woo. One came to me and said, man, we just need you to apologize. But guess what my apology is? With my on Jay Prince's lips, him on his knees.
That was the offer on the table. Charleston said no. Not a quiet no, either. He stood his ground in a room full of people aligned against him, with cameras pointed at him, with muscle nearby, and he refused to fold. Whether you think that's admirable or just plain foolish probably says a lot about how you view Charleston White in general, but
Damn low down, dirty. And I'm gonna tell Jay Prince just here. I'm telling mob ties, rapper like y'all can do y'all hear that woman's voice? Do y'all hear the pain in that woman's voice? Now you've been knowing this was a kids event for over a month, but because Jay Prince, because I refused to sit down with you, y'all called my manager and I told you ain't sitting down with no. Now all of a sudden the mayor's office is getting calls. So you mean to tell me you nigga go put kids' life in jeopardy? Y'all calling the mayor's office and say, man, when we know it's a kids event and he speak, we go hurt him at a kids event. That's why I hate you coward ass mob. That's why I hate you coward ass gangsters. That's why you think all the power y'all got in Houston, y'all could have helped that woman in the organization, but you want to derail her event. You James Prince, your punk sons too. And your weird daughter that's abusing kids. Fuck James Prince family. Go help somebody. I'm willing to die
and go to jail. The only reason I ain't show up is because Miss Pap called me. The police didn't say they wasn't gonna protect me because I got some that'll go against James Prince with me. Listen, James Prince run 5th Ward. He don't run Houston. They run 5th Ward. He don't run Houston. He don't run Texas. He don't run Dallas. He don't run that. Run 5th Ward and that Rap-A-Lot label. That don't run nothing else. And I tell that to his face, he don't run nothing. You got to pay somebody to do something, James. You got to pay somebody to do something, James. You ain't no let's go do nothing, James. You ain't no that'll take his shirt off. Nigga, please. Nigga, I ain't scared of now one you bitch ass nigga, homie. I think all you ass sit down and pee when it come to it like me and the police.
Nobody in that room could say he backed down easy. The question is, what happened after he said no? Because that's where this story really picks up speed. When Charleston said no to that apology, the atmosphere in that room got very uncomfortable very quickly. He described people closing in around him, phones out, energy shifting from tense to something closer to threatening. This wasn't a debate anymore. This was a pressure situation, the kind designed to make a person fold just from the weight of it.
Say, what's up, soul brother?
Oh, brother, you make it in yet?
No, I ain't made it in yet.
Okay, dang, I was gonna tell you, man, we in the championship. I was trying to get you to come out to the game.
Yeah. Now I ain't gonna be in till tomorrow.
Okay, hey, look, the jacket ain't make it in yet, but I got the address to send it to you.
Okay, bet.
All right. It'll be sweet, man. But yeah, man, we'll see you tomorrow, man.
I already bet.
What do I need to do? Do I need to just text you before I get there? Or?
Yeah, just call. I'll call you when I get in. I get in real early, so I hit you tomorrow morning.
Okay, bet it up.
All right, bet.
Appreciate it, bud.
Yeah, so y'all just heard it from Miss Pap yourself, man. Ain't nobody shutting anyway. Ain't no comedy show. I don't know where he's getting no comedy show from. My comedy show is in Virginia. I told y'all I was going to Houston to do a community event. Community and comedy don't even sound alike. Community event, comedy show. Community event, comedy show. So I don't know where the fuck these get off with a comedy show. But he bloggers. That's why I tell you, don't believe these bloggers. Only believe half of what you hear, half of what you see, then you research the other and then put all the facts together and you see what's true. But please don't listen to these bloggers. And these are my friends. These are my guys. But I know they're just doing lackluster reporting and they just doing this for numbers. They're not going to do any due diligence. They're a team of people. They're not going to do any research. Hey, call Charleston. Hey, call somebody from Rap-A-Lot. Hey, they're not going to do any of that to verify and make sure everything is credible. They're going to hear something. It's going to sound sensationalized. It's going to sound like this going to be, and they're going to post it without any doing accurate research. And that's where we're losing it as a people and as a culture, because we are taking lies and half lies for facts and face value truth in spirit and in truth.
But here's what a lot of people miss about Charleston White. The man has been in genuinely dangerous situations before. He grew up in circumstances that most people only read about. He's talked openly about his past, about juvenile detention, about the things he witnessed and experienced coming up in Texas. So, when people try to intimidate him with presence and numbers, he's operating from a different reference point than most. Fear reads differently on him. He claims he walked out of that building on his own terms. Not escorted, not rushed, not shaken. Just walked out. Now, of course, there are other people at that event who might tell that story differently. That's always the case when two sides have something to prove. But Charleston went live almost immediately after, told his version in real time, and dared anyone to contradict him on camera. Jay Prince's camp didn't respond the same way. They don't typically do the back and forth social media thing. That's not how that operation moves. When they have something to say, it tends to come through different channels, in different formats, with a different kind of weight behind it. And that silence, that deliberate quiet from the other side, almost made the situation feel more serious rather than less. Then the driver's license story broke, and suddenly the whole narrative had a new angle that nobody expected, one that shifted the conversation from street politics to something almost absurdly mundane. Almost. So, here's where it gets almost comical, except it really isn't. In the middle of one of the most talked about feuds in hip-hop right now, Charleston White got pulled over. And when the officer ran his information, it came back that he was driving without a valid license. No license. In the middle of all this chaos, all this bravado, all this public posturing about being untouchable and unbothered, the man got caught slipping on something as basic as keeping his paperwork in order. Now, people online had a field day with that. And honestly, you can understand why. Here's a guy who records himself, walking into rooms full of people who want him to apologize, who talks constantly about being built different, who positions himself as someone operating on a level most people can't handle. And then he catches a charge for driving without a license, like a teenager who just got his car taken away. The jokes wrote themselves. Charleston's critics, and there are plenty of them, treated it like the ultimate punchline, like the universe had stepped in to humble a man who refused to humble himself. His supporters pushed back and said it was a setup, that he was being targeted, that the timing was too convenient to be random. And honestly, that argument isn't completely crazy either. When you're beefing with someone who has serious reach in a city like Houston, paranoia isn't always paranoia. But here's what that license situation actually did beyond the jokes and the theories. It gave the story legs at a moment when it might have started to fade. People who weren't even following the Jay Prince angle tuned in, because suddenly there was a concrete, documented, court-recordable event attached to Charleston White's name. It stopped being just a he-said situation and started having paper behind it. And paper has a way of changing how serious people take things. Because once there's an actual legal situation attached to your name, the people who were already watching you closely start watching even closer. Law enforcement, opponents, everyone with a reason to keep tabs on Charleston White suddenly had something tangible to point to. It's one thing to be loud on the internet. It's another thing to have an active case. And Charleston knew that. He addressed it publicly, the way he addresses everything, head on and on camera. He didn't hide from the license situation. He talked about it, explained it, and then pivoted right back to the Jay Prince conversation, like the two things were connected threads in the same story, which in a way they kind of are. Because both situations speak to the same core question about Charleston White. How long can someone operate this aggressively before the world starts pushing back in ways that actually stick? That's the question his critics have been asking for years. And right now, between the Houston confrontation and the license charge, it feels like the pressure is mounting from multiple directions at once. Legal pressure on one side, street credibility pressure on the other, and a social media audience on both sides of the fence waiting to see which way this breaks. Jay Prince, for his part, has remained largely composed in public. That's his style. He's been through enough in his life and career to know that reacting loudly to someone like Charleston White only amplifies them. The best way to handle a noise machine is sometimes to simply not plug it in. But people close to that camp have made it clear through various channels that this situation is not being taken lightly behind the scenes. There are conversations happening that aren't on camera, moves being made that haven't surfaced yet. And in situations like this, it's usually what you don't see coming that matters most. And that's what makes this particular situation different from Charleston White's usual run of internet beef. Most of the time, his opponents are other commentators, other influencers, people operating in the same digital arena where clout is the currency and attention is the prize. Those feuds have a ceiling. They flame up, they trend for a few days, and then everybody moves on to the next thing. This one doesn't feel like that. Jay Prince isn't an internet personality. He's not trying to grow a YouTube channel or rack up views. The man operates in a world where reputation has real-world consequences, where relationships built over decades mean something tangible, and where perceived disrespect doesn't just disappear because the news cycle moved on. That's a fundamentally different kind of opponent than Charleston is used to dealing with. People who know both men have been surprisingly quiet publicly. And that silence is loud. Usually when something like this pops off in hip-hop circles, everybody has a take. Podcasters, former associates, people on the fringes of both camps, they all come out with their angles and their inside information. But this time, a lot of the usual voices have gone noticeably still. Like they're waiting to see how the dust settles before they pick a side out loud. Charleston noticed that too. He called it out directly, said people who normally ride with him were suddenly hard to reach. Whether that's fear, calculation, or just people being smart about where they position themselves in a situation with this much potential energy behind it, the effect is the same. Charleston White is looking a little more isolated than usual right now. And isolated is a dangerous place to be when you've made as many enemies as he has. The circle around him is getting smaller, and the circle around the other side of this situation is not. So, where does this actually go from here? That's the part nobody can answer cleanly right now, and that uncertainty is part of what's keeping people so locked in on this story. Charleston White has survived situations that should have ended him before. He's had confrontations, controversies, and moments where the internet collectively declared him finished. And then he comes back louder, with more content, more energy, and somehow a bigger audience than before. That's not luck. That's a specific kind of resilience, whether you respect it or not. But resilience has limits, and right now, Charleston is stacking problems in a way that feels different from his usual pattern. The legal situation with the license isn't going away on its own. The Houston confrontation left marks on his reputation in circles that actually matter to him. And the growing quiet from people who used to be vocal supporters is the kind of signal that's hard to ignore. Jay Prince has seen people come and go in this industry for over 3 decades. He watched empires rise and collapse. He's navigated federal scrutiny, industry politics, and street-level pressure that would have broken most people in half. So when someone like Charleston White comes into his orbit talking reckless, Jay Prince doesn't panic. He's patient. And patient people in powerful positions are almost always more dangerous than reactive ones. The piece that nobody is really talking about yet is what happens if this escalates beyond words and confrontations. Because right now, it's still mostly in the territory of public statements, viral clips, and legal paperwork. But the energy underneath all of it feels like something looking for a direction, like pressure building behind a door that nobody has fully opened yet. Charleston White knows that feeling better than most. The question is whether he's the one holding the door closed or the one about to walk through it. Wait, actually, before we close this out completely, there's one more layer to this whole situation that we haven't fully dug into yet. And it might be the most important piece of the entire puzzle. Let's talk about the audience, not Jay Prince's audience, not Charleston White's audience specifically, the broader audience. The people watching this from the outside, who aren't invested in either side, but are absolutely glued to every update. Because in 2024, the audience is a player in these situations, whether anyone acknowledges it or not. The views, the comments, the shares, they're not just reactions, they're fuel. They determine how long a story stays alive, how much pressure stays on both parties, and ultimately who comes out looking better when the smoke clears. Charleston White understands this better than almost anyone in his lane. He didn't build his following by accident. Every wild video, every confrontation, every moment where he says the thing that makes your jaw drop. That's intentional content strategy wrapped inside what looks like unfiltered authenticity. The man knows exactly what he's doing with a camera in his hand. So even the Houston situation, even the license drama, part of you has to wonder how much of his public response was genuine and how much was him watching the numbers climb in real time and adjusting accordingly. That's not an accusation. That's just the reality of how this media landscape works now. The line between living your life and performing your life for an audience has basically dissolved for people at Charleston's level of online presence. Everything is content. Everything is a chapter in an ongoing series that keeps people subscribed. The dangerous part of that dynamic is that it can push people to escalate situations they should be walking away from. Because walking away doesn't perform well. De-escalation doesn't go viral. Quiet resolution doesn't bring in the ad revenue. So there's a perverse incentive built into this whole thing that pushes toward more conflict rather than less. And neither side is completely immune to it. Now, here's the irony that nobody really wants to say out loud. The more attention this situation gets, the more it benefits Charleston White on a pure numbers level. Every time someone in Jay Prince's camp makes a move that surfaces publicly, every time a new detail drops about the Houston confrontation, every time somebody posts a clip breaking down the latest development, Charleston's name is in the center of that conversation. And attention, whether it's positive or negative, is the currency he trades in. Jay Prince's camp is sophisticated enough to understand that, which is probably one of the main reasons they've been so disciplined about not engaging publicly. Because public engagement feeds the machine that Charleston runs on. Silence starves it, or at least that's the theory. Whether that theory holds when the situation keeps escalating is a different question entirely. There's also the Houston community angle that deserves more attention than it's been getting. Because this isn't just about two personalities clashing. Houston has its own culture, its own codes, and its own way of handling situations that outsiders sometimes fundamentally misread. Jay Prince didn't build what he built in a vacuum. That city is behind him in ways that go deeper than fan loyalty. There are relationships, histories, and mutual understandings in Houston that Charleston White, despite being a Texas native himself, may be underestimating. Fort Worth is not Houston. And if you know Texas geography on a cultural level, you understand that's not just a distance thing. Those are two different worlds operating under different sets of unwritten rules. Charleston coming into Houston and treating it like neutral territory, because he's from Texas too. That might be one of the biggest miscalculations in this whole story. The people who were in that room at that event aren't just random supporters. They're embedded in a community structure that has been built and maintained for decades. Charleston walked into that with his camera and his confidence, and what he might not have fully accounted for was that the walls in that room had context he couldn't just record his way out of. And now, here's the part that actually keeps this interesting going forward. Charleston White is not done. That much is obvious. The man does not have a gear called retreat. Even if every rational signal is pointing toward cooling off, toward letting the legal situation breathe, toward giving the Houston tension some time and distance to settle, that's just not how he operates. His entire identity is built on forward momentum, on pressing when other people would pause. So, the next move is coming. Maybe it's another video that pokes directly at the situation. Maybe it's a public appearance in Houston that nobody expected. Maybe it's something that hasn't even been telegraphed yet. Something that shifts the whole framing of this beef in a direction nobody's currently looking. With Charleston, the unexpected is basically the expected. And Jay Prince, look, the man has navigated situations that make this look like a minor inconvenience on his way to a lunch meeting. He's dealt with entities far more powerful and far more connected than a social media commentator with a YouTube following. He has tools in his toolbox that don't even have names in the public conversation. So, when people wonder whether Jay Prince is genuinely bothered by Charleston White, the honest answer is probably somewhere between mildly annoyed and barely registering it, at least on a personal level. But reputation is reputation. And when someone keeps poking at your circle publicly, at a certain point it becomes less about the individual and more about the principle. You let one person run their mouth without consequence, and suddenly everybody with a camera thinks they can take their shot. That's the calculus that matters here, more than whatever personal feelings either man actually has. The people around Jay Prince have reputations to protect too. Associates, artists on the roster, people whose business and credibility is tied to how that camp responds to disrespect. So even if Jay Prince himself could shrug Charleston off without a second thought, the pressure from within that circle to respond in some meaningful way is very real. That's the tension that hasn't broken yet. The gap between what's happened so far and what feels inevitable. It's sitting right there in the middle of this whole situation, like a weight on a scale that hasn't tipped fully to either side. What makes it compelling is that both of these men, in completely different ways, are actually built for this kind of pressure. Charleston thrives under it. Jay Prince has simply outlasted it more times than anyone can count. So, yeah, buckle up. Because this chapter is still being written, and the ending is nowhere in sight. At the end of all this, what you're really watching is two very different worlds colliding in real time. Charleston White built his platform on chaos, on being the loudest voice in any room, on daring people to come at him. Jay Prince built his legacy on something quieter and far more durable, influence that doesn't need to announce itself. Neither of those men is going to back down easily, that much is clear, and as long as that's true, this story has more chapters coming. The license situation will play out in court, the Houston fallout will continue rippling through the circles that were in that room, and Charleston will keep recording, keep talking, keep pushing, because that's all he knows how to do. Whether that courage or that stubbornness, and at this point, it might be both, carries him through this. One the way it has before is genuinely anybody's guess. What's your take on all of this? Do you think Charleston White is built for this level of pressure, or has he finally picked a situation he can't talk his way out of? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you're new here, subscribe so you don't miss what comes next with this story, because it is far from over. Like the video if you want to see us break down the next development as it drops. See you in the next one.
Voila! Definition of would do anything for some attention. 50-some years old, still going to jail. This smiling on his mugshot, y'all. If this man is not a clout-seeking junkie, look at him. Damn fool.
Hey, so I rescheduled my flight. Had no other business in Houston. Some told me I possibly could run into Honeycomb Brazy, after the Vlad TV interview.
Okay. I can go in details about a lot of things. Everything about Rap-A-Lot Records is evil. So I ain't caring about nothing. Y'all watch this nigga do this to me. And only for me to come back and lie and say I wasn't invited. I'm fucked up by lying. Didn't I tell you I'm willing to die, kill, and go to jail for this shit I'm doing on the internet? Didn't I tell you that?
As soon as I walk through the door, it's Number Love. Dr. Candace, she introduced me to everybody. I said, Doc, if I would have known this for Fifth Ward, I wouldn't have came. Brother, you ain't got to worry about shit. I called James. But she told me.
Oh, she called Jay Prince.
She looked me in my eye. I said, what'd he say? She said, okay. And I heard somebody say, man, I don't f with that. That's what caught my attention. I turn around to take a picture of the image. I'm still not cautious of what's going on because she's assured me of my safety. I don't know that this woman who just walked by me and stepped on my shoe and kind of nudged me was Jay Prince's daughter. This one man's energy was like an elephant in the room. Very noticeable. He record, he sending it, he making it known. 4 or 5 guys walk in. They got them chains on. The old school boy. Probably they got out the feds or something to put the jewelry back on. White tee, freshen them up. He fresh out. Had they said this was Jay Prince's daughter establishment, I wouldn't have took one drink from back there. You can make me tell they wouldn't give me water. They wouldn't put in my Don Julio. She and the Republican candidate right there talking. This big 6'4", big muscular dude leans down to tell me with Dr. Candace Matthews standing right there, the Republican candidate standing right there, and the whole crowd watching with their phones out. He said, I need to holler at you. Go make a video. He said, man, you just go apologize. Say you were trolling and you take back everything you done said. You didn't know better in the beginning. Now you know better. So we just go make the video, come on over, man. I said, say, let me finish doing this here. So Dr. Candace Matthews, we having a whole conversation. So when she snatched him away, they don't just move away. She had to give me the microphone to pay it off.
Say, Jordan, I always Jordan. Listen up. 33% of kids in Houston cannot read on or above their grade level. And I see why. Because when proper information is given, to get done.
Immediately after I'm talking, her security whisked me out the door. They got the car surrounded. It's by the door, ready to take off on me. I stood up with the talking, man, you bitch ain't gonna do nothing.
Get mad about something. Ain't there one that gonna do nothing. Ain't there one that gonna do nothing.
And told Cat, hit the gas and come. Somebody toward the car, in there, we just heard a shot. We like, man, I know them niggas shoot. Man, come on now.
Jay Prince, you can suck my ass. You and your sons can suck my. I don't have issues with Jay Prince film and all that. I don't got no issue with that. The beef that him and Charleston them got, they grown men. They take care of their own shit.
Give him a show. I was booked here with you, so I'll be back in Houston on Monday, actually making it a official investigation.
Well, Jay Prince seemingly responded to you without naming your name. He said, never allow a maggot to draw you down to this level. A maggot will always beat you at being a maggot. Eventually, maggots become flies, eating shit, agitating others, and spreading contamination until their last days. I've lived with roaches, rats, and flies most of my life. all trying to eat off my plate. Eventually, the universe rewarded them all, and no weapon formed against me shall prosper.
He must got a 4th grade reading education. He's been talking like that since 87. That Wizard of Oz talk don't scare nobody. What's a maggot? We know what it is. What's a maggot? He making up shit now. I'm saying he must got, see these riddles the nigga talk with. Real men don't talk how he talk. This is one thing I've learned about the Prince sample. Starting from senior to junior. They lie